Welcome back to Jedi Enclave. I'm Daniel.
I'm Chris.
And surprise, it's Wednesday. It's not
Yes.
Thursday. We've changed the date on you, and we'll have to live with that.
We might have more surprises in the future. You don't
Yeah.
know.
You don't know. You can't prove that there will or will not be.
That's why there's surprises.
You can't prove that we're actually here right now. This could be a recording. This entire thing could be pre-recorded. Yep. You could be interacting with us right now, like we're actually right here, reading what you say.
And we're not.
And we could not be. You'll never know. Anyway, welcome back to Jedi Enclave, our show about Star Wars, and then today a lot about the MCU.
Yeah.
Which is our responsibility, especially when the Star Wars news is light. A lot of you guys are MCU fans as well, and other nerdy things. So we have a responsibility.
We are well-rounded nerds.
Yeah. Also, MCU's been putting out some real fucking good stuff lately, so we're going to cover it. And then first, before we get into this too much, thanks to the Star Wars Hub and Connor over at the Star Wars Hub for being so amazing, and as well as Star Wars fans worldwide. And so on and so on.
Yes.
And today, let's see. Well, we're going to start with some Star Wars news. When we get into the spoiler stuff, we're going to put a graphic up because I just made them 5 minutes ago.
Yes.
So it will be extremely clear what we're spoiling and when, and we will give you plenty of time to fucking hit the parachute cord and fly the fuck out of here.
Because we are not only well-rounded nerds, but we are respectful.
Yeah. Also because Loki literally came out today.
Yes.
And there's a very good chance that some people haven't seen it yet.
It's been less than 24 hours.
Oh, Cad Bane, the Cowboy Bounty Hunter, is here.
Dang it, you just proved that it's actually live and not
Or
pre-recorded.
Maybe I didn't. Maybe I just said that knowing he was going to be here.
Yeah, because Cad Bane is in on it.
Yeah, you guys will never know.
It's an inside job.
So let's talk Mandalorian.
Okay. So in the news,
my things I follow up to Mandalorian kind of as well. The thing that you didn't know what it was.
Oh yeah. Okay. So it is apparently awards season, I guess, or awards nomination season. Yep. I don't actually follow awards at all because I just don't care.
I've also heard that they're really exploitative, and you pretty much have to pay a lot of money to somebody to get an award in something.
It's very much about who you know.
It's weird. Like, money changes hands.
Yeah.
But you're not paying for the award. It's really, really weird and dishonest.
You're paying for the publicity and being able to say, well, I've won so many awards for my directing.
You also have to court members of the decision-making body, whatever the decision-making body is. Like, you have to, send them a blowjob or something, and,
just mail a blowjob.
Just a face. Here's a face.
They call those real dolls, Daniel.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah.
Anyway, The Mandalorian was apparently nominated for not one, not two, but 24 nominations at the Emmy Awards.
Well, Star Wars obviously is in the wrong direction with Disney, and they've made nothing but steaming piles of trash.
Hashtag fire Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah.
So on and so forth.
24 is
it's a lot.
Kind of insane.
So I guess I should mention that a lot of these are like the real ticky-tacky technical awards, the ones that don't really make it to the broadcast.
Right. One of my favorite comedians calls them the Schmemmies.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. But among the people nominated are Giancarlo Esposito for Best Supporting, Outstanding Supporting Actor.
Deserves it. If he doesn't get it, I'll burn the fucking house down.
Outstanding Director, Jon Favreau.
Obviously.
Chapter 13, The Jedi, which I believe was the Ahsoka episode, got nominated for 8 separate awards.
Oh, I bet some of the visual effects people got nominated for that.
Yeah, including Outstanding Writing for a Drama Series, Dave Filoni.
Deserves it.
Yeah. So I'm just scrolling through the list here. I'll say, a couple nominations for Outstanding Guest Actor, Timothy Oliphant as Cobb Vanth.
Oh, yeah.
And Carl Weathers as Grief Karga.
Oh, I forgot that Timothy Oliphant was in that season.
Yeah.
Because things escalate so quickly. Yeah. It's like we're on Tatooine saying people, oh my God, Ahsoka, and then, oh my God, Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
This is how do we get from there to Luke Skywalker? Tatooine. We should have known from Tatooine, I guess.
Yeah.
Boba Fett's in there, too.
Yeah.
So much happens in that season.
So much happens. But there's nominations for Outstanding Cinematography for a Single Camera Series, which, okay, whatever that means, but Episode 15 got that.
What's it
Chapter
for
15, The Believer.
The Believer.
It's 2 episodes after the Ahsoka one.
So it's the one right before the finale, right?
I think so.
The Believer. What is that one? I can't remember.
Anyway,
is it where they do they oh yeah, it's with fucking what's his name from Boston, the bald guy with the gun backpacks, where they go and bomb that refinery or whatever.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I know what you're talking about now.
That was also a great episode.
Yeah. The Ahsoka episode got nominated for Outstanding Cinematography, Outstanding Fantasy/Sci-Fi Costumes,
that's
Outstanding
pretty neat.
Editing.
That's kind of a neat distinction to make in that episode because the costumes are real fucking cool.
Yeah. Outstanding Prosthetic Makeup, which makes sense. Yeah. Because Rosario Dawson looked really good.
Her floppy head tails, yeah.
Episode 16, The Rescue, got nominated for Outstanding Music Composition.
Probably for the finale, I bet.
Almost certainly.
Because that was crazy.
Outstanding Stunt Performance, Episode 16, The Rescue.
Okay. Yeah, for the guy that was...
Yep.
For Luke?
I assume so.
Yeah.
But there was also the Mando versus
Stormtroopers.
Moff Gideon fight. And the the Dark Troopers.
All the action in that was really good, yeah.
Everything. So, yeah, there's a ton of award nominations.
The girls get it done moment.
Yeah.
that was really, really good.
Absolutely. So, I suspect Mandalorian is taking
Gina Carano.
So, yeah, Mandalorian nominated for 24 separate Emmys. Could win many of them.
If not all. Probably certainly not none.
Probably not none. Probably not all. Probably somewhere in the middle. But, yeah.
So speaking of The Mandalorian, speaking of The Rescue, speaking of my Lord and Savior Luke Skywalker, you might remember that just a couple weeks after the finale, they put out a making of Mandalorian Season 2.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
I don't think so. I watched it.
It was just like the first season one where they kind of they sit around and talk about it. What's suspiciously missing is anything about the last 5 minutes of the final episode.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's like it didn't exist.
The part that everybody cared about.
Right. Which everyone was like, well, what's that all about? And it's because they taped it ahead of time and they didn't want to risk that footage leaking. So now on the 25th of August, they're doing an entire other making of series of just that one sequence. So like the whole Luke Skywalker thing and, that one part. And it's not clear to me if it's going to be one like hour-long episode.
That seems like a lot.
I don't know. Or maybe like a half hour or something. Because usually the way they do it is they have some like behind the scenes footage, but also the people that created each episode kind of sit around and talk about the legacy of Star Wars, and they every one of these little discussions they find a way to like jerk George Lucas off real hard. Despite him just being more or less done with all of them. And
having 4 billion reasons to not care anymore.
Oh yeah, I posted that on a Star Wars page the other day. It was a good Breaking Bad meme, but yeah. So yeah, we're gonna figure out how they did all that. Even though we kind of know that like Luke was kind of a face swap, deep fake kind of technology.
It's the same technology they used in Rogue One for Tarkin and Leia.
Yeah,
at least I assume so.
I don't think that Luke was as polished as like Tarkin. Because we talked a little bit about this. Like every fanboy in the world cried, but when he pulled the hood back, you're like, because I didn't. What my thought was, oh my gosh, I bet they got Sebastian Stan or someone else to play Luke.
Yeah.
So I'm like really waiting for the hood to come back, and when he pulled the hood back, I was like, who is that?
That's CGI Mark Hamill.
Yeah, and it took me a second to be like, oh, this is weird.
Yeah.
But that's where we are with the technology. I think one day we're going to get there.
Yeah.
Where you don't even have to be... You can be fucking dead and you will be in movies. And no one will be able to tell the difference.
Which is kind of terrifying when you think about it.
Right.
But yeah. That's what
So this next thing... Are you doing this next thing?
Yes.
Or?
So, Dave Filoni. He's a pretty cool guy.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I thought you meant the next thing.
Yeah. But Dave Filoni, he the mastermind of all the Star Wars animated series now. Also worked a little bit on The Mandalorian. Also appeared on The Mandalorian.
Yep.
He's getting an action figure.
Yeah, because he's like an X-Wing pilot,
yes,
right?
More specifically, his character Trapper Wolf, which sounds a whole lot like a Metal Gear boss.
Well, he has this this crazy obsession with wolves.
Okay.
That's why he draws wolves all the time. That's why there are wolves in Rebels.
Okay.
He's like really obsessed with like the wolf imagery.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah.
So his character Trapper Wolf is getting an action figure. It's in the Black series, which is like the really good
these
Star Wars
the ones
figures.
I have over here on my shelf. That's cool. I was about to say, is it Black series? I'll buy the fuck out of that.
Yeah, it's becoming available at Hasbro's PulseCon 2021 event this fall.
All right.
And I believe they say it's retailing for $30 or something. Yeah, $29.99. So aimed at collectors, but you can own a little miniature Dave Filoni if you want.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Let's see. This one I just put on the list because it's funny because the title says Matt Shakman to direct Star Wars film.
Okay.
The article is about how Matt Shakman has been hired to direct a Star Trek film. So someone at BlueMountainEagle.com, which whatever the fuck that is, doesn't know the difference between Star Wars and Star Trek.
Either that, or they just got the wires crossed in their brain while they're making the headline.
No excuse. No, we don't. As they say in Fanboys, get the fuck off our land. We've watched that, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. We should. So one of these days, we're gonna do like watch parties with all the people that watch our streams and stuff, and like of random Star Wars or whatever. But Fanboys will almost certainly be one of them. Let's move on to our Bad Batch recap, which
that's all the news.
Yeah.
There's no news.
I didn't make a spoiler thing for Bad Batch, but it happened so long ago that
it's been 6 days, 5 days, 6 days.
Yeah, the next one's tomorrow.
Yeah. Friday, because today's Wednesday.
Oh shit, you're right. It is on Friday.
So it's been 5 days.
What's on Thursday?
I don't know. What is on Thursday?
I don't know. Maybe it's our show.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's been 5 days since the Bad Batch episode we're talking about. If you haven't seen it yet,
spoilers.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is called Devil's Deal.
All right.
Ominous. We open on Ryloth, home of the Twi'leks.
Twi'leks. Everyone says it different.
Twi'leks. Okay.
Also, Ryloth is a popular starfighter map that we play on Battlefront.
Which one is that?
It's the one with the droid control ship.
Oh yeah.
That's that's orbiting Ryloth, but you can't really tell because it's just a planet. Yeah.
Anyway, there's a crowd assembling outside government building, which seems to be a pattern in Bad Batch.
Yeah, it's exactly how the other one started, right?
So,
like, let me guess, you're going to say something real shitty, and then you're going to get arrested.
Yeah, and the people are really unhappy to see the Empire.
Right.
Crosshairs is, I guess, leading security outside, and he's like looking through the crowd.
Vastly overqualified.
Absolutely. But he spots the Twi'lek fighter Gobi Glee with some of his friends, and he kind of radios that up. Admiral Rampart, our old buddy, who we haven't seen since like the first half of this season.
Who I am strangely attracted to.
He's a handsome man.
I don't understand. He's a cartoon. Like, that's the first problem.
That has not stopped many people in this world, Daniel.
Oh, I've seen fucking y'all hentai people.
Yeah.
I know what you're watching on the internet. I see that shit accidentally sometimes.
Accidentally in quotes. Anyway.
Which, by the way, we're not going to kink shame. We're sex positive here at Jedi
Absolutely.
Enclave. So you jerk off to whatever squid, octopus, pig creature you want.
Sure.
And I'll be happy for you.
Mm-hmm. Admiral Rampart, our old buddy, is talking with Senator
Admiral
Tom.
Rampart's not a squid, by the way.
He is not. He's a human being.
A very handsome human being.
He's talking with the Twi'lek Senator Ta, who has 4 head tails somehow.
Is that the fat one?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in episode 3.
Oh.
When they after Obi-Wan and Anakin crash land and likely kill millions of people.
Yeah.
When he's like, oh, you deserved your day in the politics, blah, fuck, and like he's a part of that crowd that like comes to meet them.
Huh. So how come he gets to have 4
head tails?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is it just because he's really fat?
I don't know.
That's weird.
Maybe it's Maybe it's like a sex symbol.
Maybe.
Like instead of being like, look at that guy's big dick, they're like, look, he's got one extra head tail.
He has 2 extra head tails. That's so hot. So they're talking about the Twi'leks being hesitant to join the Empire, and like Todd's like, nah, it's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
They're gonna get jobs, the security. They're gonna love it.
Yeah, the Twi'leks, by the way, just finished their insurgent war with the droids. So like they've got 0 fucking patience for anyone that wants to tell them what to do.
Yeah, and the Syndulas, General Cham Syndulla and his wife, whose name I never caught.
Hera Senior. We'll call her Hera Senior.
Hera Senior.
Yeah, I can't remember their names.
So they're a little bit.
They're all from France, apparently. They have very thick French accents.
Yeah, it's weird. But
I guess Ryloth is the France of space.
But they're like not so sure about the Empire, but they're like trying to play along because they just want to be done with the war.
That's probably how they got invaded so easily.
Yeah. So Todd goes out to the balcony and starts talking to the crowd. Oh, the Empire is great. They put their refinery here. We're going to have so many jobs. The clones are here to keep us all safe. It's going to be great. And the crowd is just like, boo!
He's doing the literal politician thing where it's like, I'm going to dress up all the shit that's bad for you as good for you. And I just winked that no one saw it, but I winked.
So the crowd is booing, but General Syndulla steps up and says, all right, listen, the war is over. Like, we're not being killed by droids anymore, and it's partly thanks to the clones here, mostly thanks to the clones here. They're pretty cool guys. So let's just try to transition back to peace and being happy. And the crowd is like, yay, Cham Syndulla!
That guy said it's okay.
Yeah. So Gobi Glee, our intrepid freedom fighter, I guess, kind of walks away, and Crosshair just kind of watches him go. Meanwhile, Hera Syndulla, who you may know from Rebels, and her droid Chopper, who you may also know from Rebels, are spying on the Imperial refinery. Because, that's just what they do.
She wasn't like... Was she there on a mission, or was she just being snoopy?
I'm pretty sure she was on a mission.
Oh, okay.
I think Gobi sent her.
Oh.
Explicitly.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if you told my kid to go and spy on without asking me, because he's not her dad or anything.
Yeah, he's her uncle?
Yeah. I'd be like, fuck off.
It's pretty fucked up.
That's dangerous.
Anyway, so they're like on a hill spying on the refinery, but they don't really see anything. And like Hera just kind of flops down on her back and has her hand up like a spaceship, like she's imagining flying. And then they get caught by some clone troopers. I mean, it's very scary.
Well, one of them she knows, right?
Not the patrol, but when she gets taken back to the Syndulla house, Commander Hauser, the guy with the teal accents on his armor, is leading the people who brought them back. The Twi'leks are turning in their guns at the Syndulla house, I guess, just because that's a convenient place to drop them off. I don't know.
Can you imagine? Can you fucking imagine this storyline, but in America?
Oh God, it would never work.
No, the Empire would die, I think.
Yeah. So Hauser brings Hera back, and he's like, "All right, look, Cham, she was kind of spying on an Imperial facility. I'm not gonna tell anybody, but this really cannot happen again. Like, she came very close to being shot." And Cham's like, "It will not happen again." And he's like, "All right, Hera, go to your room, because this is some seriously bad shit you just did."
Yes. No more espionage, young lady. To your room.
Yes. You're like 12 years old. Why are you spying on a military facility? Gobi shows up, and he's like, "Actually, I sent her to do that spying." Cham's like, "You did what?"
You're not her fucking dad.
That's not... She's 12! If you want to go spy on the Imperials, do it yourself.
Hire a real spy.
Yes.
You are a spy. Go do it yourself.
Yeah. So, meanwhile, back at their secret, well, not so secret, but government hidey hole, Ta and Rampart are talking about the Syndullas, and like Ta is like really jealous of how much people like Cham.
Yeah, because he turned public opinion during that thing. Like,
yeah. But like Rampart's like, it's fine. They'll turn around and it'll be fine.
You'll be in charge of everything. Everyone will love you.
So later, Cham and Hera are talking about their dreams. Like, Cham just wants a free, happy, peaceful Ryloth, and Hera just wants to fly so that she can get away because she's doing that teenager thing where I hate you. Yeah. She just wants to be anywhere but here. Hera says that Gobi, who is her uncle apparently, doesn't really like or trust the Imperials, and she's like, I can fight, I can be a freedom fighter.
I can clearly spy, except I
Not
can't without
very
getting caught.
well,
Yeah.
because again, she's 12.
If you don't mind your spies getting caught, I can do a really good job.
Yeah. And Cham is just like, no, young lady, you are not going to fight in any wars. You're not going to be any sort of rebel or freedom fighter or spy. You're just going to live
your
a peaceful
fucking math
life.
homework, Hera.
Yes. Go to your room and do your math homework.
What's up, Joseph? Sorry.
Okay. Rampart is giving the Syndulas a tour of the refinery because, they're important people and he wants to get them on his side. Hera Sr., I guess, is like looking around like, you said this wasn't going to be a military facility, but there's some really big gun turrets like all around. What's up with that? And Rampart's like, oh, those gun turrets. I actually have to go take a call. I'll see you later.
Yeah. Hold that thought. Goodbye.
We're exaggerating very slightly. He actually does just say, oh, it's no problem, and just walks away. and that leaves the two Syndulas there like, this is kind of sketchy, and I'm not sure I trust the Empire, but at the same time, like, they're the law, so and like we just got done fighting an entire war, so what are we gonna do here? Hera shows up at Gobi's shuttle because apparently he called her or something, and she's like, yeah, I can't go, I'm sorry. And Gobi's like, oh, don't worry, we're not spying on anything, this is just a simple supply run. And Hera's like, no, but my parents are really mad, and I think they'd be really upset if I left the planet. And he's like, oh, well, that's a shame, because I was going to let you fly the ship. But if you just want to stay here, that's cool, and we'll fly ourselves. And Hera's like,
who's going to fly the ship?
Hera's like, oh my God, you're actually going to let me fly? All right, fuck it, I'm
Which,
getting on.
by the way, is really manipulative and
yes,
because she's just a kid.
Insanely so. So as they get on and start taking off, who should be watching them but Crosshair, who pulls out his giant rifle and like plants a tracker bug on their ship.
Same kind of tracker that Obi-Wan throws on Slave One in Episode 2, by the way.
Good catch. That would make sense because it's all Republic tech.
Yep.
So the shuttle flies up to one of Rylos moons? Rylos moon? I don't know. Let's
assume. I would ask my Echo, but she probably doesn't know.
It's a moon.
Yeah.
Where they meet who else but the Bad Batch, who are bringing them weapons that Sid sent and that they paid for.
Which, by the way, if you're wondering, why is it that it took so long in this episode of the Bad Batch for the Bad Batch to show up? I was wondering a little bit of the same thing.
I was a little curious, yeah. Hera and Omega become fast friends, and they geek out about how cool the Bad Batch's ship is. And finally, the adults finagle all the details.
Hold that thought.
Yeah.
Ryloth has 5 moons.
5 moons.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's one of the 5 moons.
That mystery is solved. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Wikipedia. Yeah. So they figure out the details. Like, yeah, we'll take these guns and have Sid call us when she has more because we need a lot more guns. And they fly back and they go their separate ways. On their way back, however, Gobi's ship gets ambushed and shot down by Crosshair because apparently you can just like shoot one engine with
one laser
one blaster shot into the engine and the whole thing just comes down.
That must have been like one hell of a shot.
It must have been a really crappy ship. So Hera, Gobi, and his subordinate Twi'lek co-pilot, I don't know, all get arrested, and Rampart and Ta show up and are like, oh, this is proof that Cham Syndulla is plotting sedition against the Empire. And Rampart's like, can you just chill for a second?
Turn it down.
Like, Cham is not here. Hera is here.
Yeah.
But Cham is not here. Crosshair, so like they're being led up to the tank, I guess, that they're being they're riding away on. Crosshair's like, by the way, Admiral Rampart, there's 3 rebel freedom fighters up there on the ridge. You want me to shoot them?
Yeah, I could shoot him in the face right now. In fact, I would prefer it.
I could kill all 3 of them before any of them realized what was happening.
They're looking at us right now, and they don't know that even though I'm talking to you like this is a normal conversation, that I could just go ka-pew pew pew and they'd all be dead.
I would love nothing more than to do it, so much that the thought of just doing it is giving me a half-mast right now. And Rampart's like,
if you're wondering why I'm turned to my side right now,
it's so that I don't hit you with my dick.
Yeah.
Rampart's like, okay, first of all, that's kind of gross.
Yep. Don't talk about that.
Keep that
please.
to yourself.
Yeah.
Second of all, no, let them report back because I want to see what happens. So those freedom fighters report back to Cham Syndulla and say, hey, your daughter got captured. He's like, she did what?
She was doing her math homework. What are you talking about?
And no, actually, and then Chopper shows up and is like, hey, by the way, they're all going to be charged with treason and executed.
Probably executed, yeah.
And like, the Syndullas are understandably a little concerned.
Oh yeah, I mean, in most civilizations, treason's like the one crime you get put to death for.
Yeah.
So
they're like, all right, fuck this. Freedom fighter guys, you just stay there. We're gonna be there, and we're gonna like take down this tank.
You guys better get ready to freedom fight.
We're gonna do some hero shit. So Cham and his new friends take down like most of the clone troopers, speeder bikes guarding this tank, and like one of them jumps onto the tank and like knocks.
There's some pretty
out.
cool shit. Yeah, they got some moves.
Yeah, they jam communications. It's a perfectly executed hijack. So the Commander Hauser, the clone commander, is on board, and he's like, well, clearly we need to fight. And he pulls out his gun, and Ta's like, yes, defend us! And Rampart's like, actually, no, that's dumb. Tell them we surrender. Because, I don't really want to die here. Mm. So, they do. The Imperials surrender, and Cham, like, lines up the clones and Rampart and Ta outside the tank, and, like, all right, so Hera gets loaded onto a speeder with Chopper so that he can take her home. Cham is very upset and like pulls a gun on Senator Ta and is this close to shooting him when like Hauser's like, this maybe isn't the right way to do it, and his wife is like, this really isn't the right way to do it. This dude's a scumbag. He's gonna get his one way or another, and you're like the biggest hero on the entire planet, so maybe don't execute an unarmed prisoner because that's a war crime. And Cham is like, you know what? That actually makes sense, and kind of puts the blaster down.
You and your logic.
And Rampart is like, Senator Ta, thank you for your service. And he just kind of gestures. And meanwhile, up on the ridge is Crosshair, who has Senator Ta in his crosshairs, and he shoots him.
Like right in the head, too,
yeah,
right?
Like he is dead.
Yeah. And
as he does this, a couple more Imperial shuttles come down, and they realize, oh, it's a trap! It was all...
It's a trap!
It's a trap! It was all Rampart's plot to consolidate power on Ryloth, I guess.
Yeah. Which, by the way, the Imperials always have some gambit they're running.
Yeah, for sure. Like, there's no way they were going to let a Twi'lek be in charge when they could put a human in charge.
Right.
Because the Empire is racist.
Yes.
So Chopper drives Hera to safety. The other Twi'leks are all arrested, and Rampart says, charge them with he says attempted assassination, which seems like bullshit because he got shot in the head.
The successful assassination.
Yes,
yeah.
I would just say assassination of Senator Ta, but, whatever. Rampart also tells Commander Hauser, hey, that girl couldn't have gotten very far, so I want you to go capture her.
Go find her. She's probably like 10 feet away.
Which, considering that Rebels happens, means they probably failed. Yeah. But anyway, that's the end of the episode.
Or at the very least, she escapes.
Yeah.
Any kind of big punishment.
Which would, I could imagine a situation where, Hauser is very clearly the friend of her dad. Mm-hmm. So, he might capture her and then, accidentally let her go. Yeah.
Yeah. So, this ties in kind of in a cool way on a couple of different fronts. Obviously, the Rebels. It was a Rebels episode.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
But also, if you've read Star Wars, what is it, Dark Lord of the Sith?
Dark Lords of the Sith. Yeah.
Her dad, and her dad is one of the characters, because that entire book takes place on Ryloth. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like the same character, her father. At some point, I think both of her parents die. Yeah. And it kind of radicalizes her, I think.
Would make sense.
Yeah. So, yeah, cool episode. A way different change of pace.
Yes.
It was kind of nice. We started to fall into this serialization, go do a thing for Sid, and then go do a thing for Sid, and having it was kind of a neat little change of pace.
Way less D. Bradley Baker than usual.
Oh yeah, there definitely was. So yeah, we'll be back next week with the next one of those. Now, what do we want to do next? Black Widow or Loki? Let's do Loki in case we run out of time, because while Black Widow was great, it was not as good as Loki. So let me
hit the warning.
Yeah. Kabam!
Bam!
There it is. Loki spoilers.
Loki spoilers.
So, but seriously, this episode came out just a few hours ago.
Less than 24 hours.
Yeah. So if you don't want it spoiled, we totally get it. Come back after you've watched it, because you will want to see the actual
There's
episode.
a lot of shit that happened.
There's no way we could do justice by talking about it. So go see it. That being said, Loki, I already loved as a series. It all worked really well. The season finale was great, and it surprised me because there were only like 3 characters in it the entire time. So like we leave them with
like on the edge of the end of time,
right? And they've beat Eliath they've enchanted him, and they're gonna go find whoever's in charge of all the bullshit, and Sylvie's gonna kill them, and Loki's probably gonna watch and touch himself.
Yeah,
that's kind of what they seem to be going for.
Sure.
So this episode, by the way, normally they do the big Marvel opening that that like bam, 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 bam,
Yep.
bam. That's, by the way, a really, really cool little thing that I wrote for
cool
it.
music cue.
They didn't use it for this one.
They used a bunch of voice lines from the entire MCU.
Right. And then playing over it was the old jazz standard tune that is playing on the record player when Cap goes back to Peggy at the end of Endgame.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah,
but that's cool.
It's actually, that song was used in the MCU in a couple of different moments, by the way. The other one was during Captain America: The First Avenger, when Nick Fury is shot. He hides out in Cap's apartment and that song is playing.
This isn't First Avenger. This is Winter Soldier.
I don't think it was Winter Soldier.
I think it is. Because like Nick Fury dies in quotation marks, and that's what
doesn't he die in all of them though? Kind of. I can't remember.
But that's what sends Cap on the run and seeking out Hydra and all.
Yeah,
that.
maybe you're right. But so they've used it a couple of times, and they had this real fucking trippy introduction where it kind of shows you how kind of the flow of time works, and it just the top of this episode kind of jostled me a little bit because it's like, oh my god, what am I looking at? But it's pretty much a really neat visual representation of the flow of time, right?
I think it's meant to disorient you.
I think
show
so.
how overwhelming
and how incomprehensible, like how you can't really like wrap your mind around it. So it turns out that all time is flowing around this rock. That has that castle on top. This called the Citadel.
Yeah, the Citadel has this aesthetic in it. There's this Japanese.
Did you make the Kylo Ren thing too? Yeah,
no.
No.
Well, yeah,
yes.
It's the same idea.
Yep.
There's this Japanese art form, I think. I forget the word for it, but like if you have like a broken bowl or something, you join the cracks with like molten gold, and make it more beautiful than it was before. Yes. And like all the walls are and everything is black, but it has these like little golden cracks going through
I noticed that too. I thought it was the Kylo's helmet design in The Rise of Skywalker was based on the same
has
Japanese.
The little red
right.
veins.
Which, by the way, that Japanese art form, that wasn't the first time it was used or referenced in all of Star Wars canon. By the way, as used in another book series that meant a lot to me when I was in junior high. But pretty much the thought that something can break but come back more beautiful than it was before it broke and everything.
And it really makes sense to me as a design aesthetic for this particular location, because a character that we meet later is basically putting time together. Like time broke and he put it back together in a way that makes it not broken and also work out pretty well.
Right. So they get into the castle or the Citadel. They have this like moment like right before at the door where she's like, okay,
I've been waiting for this my entire life. I just need a minute to psych myself up.
Yep. And then the door opens, and what was really funny is that the actor that played Sylvie looked at Loki like he was the one that opened it. Like, well, I just told you to wait.
He's like, I'm just standing here.
And the door opens, they walk in, and they run into Miss Minutes, who all of a sudden looks a lot more menacing, by the way. She's got some new fucking facial expressions where her eyes kind of go like this a little bit. And
Tara Strong gave a great performance.
Oh, I know. I'm surprised they didn't use her a little bit more, by the way. But the stuff she did was really great. So basically, Miss Minutes is like,
all right, look.
You caught us.
You're here.
Good job.
Fantastic.
Got a deal for you.
But before you go any further,
yeah,
we can give you like everything you want. Loki, you can be king of Earth. Sylvie,
and kill Thanos,
Yeah,
and have an Infinity Gauntlet.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Sylvie, we can like give you a lifetime of happy memories, and you two can just.
It's all kitties and puppies, and you guys can fuck all day long.
And you can like you're king and queen of Earth for as long as you want.
Yeah. And Loki's like, "Excuse me, did you say Infinity Gauntlet? Is that what you said?" And then Sylvie is like, they both seem fairly tempted at first, right?
Yeah.
And Sylvie's like, "Well, no, because then it would be fake."
Yeah.
Like that's the whole point of us being here. You're like, this whole thing is fiction. And what's really funny is that Miss Minutes was like,
okay,
all right,
you're lost.
Yeah, just like cuts her life. She's like, this isn't gonna work. See ya.
Well,
just like dissipates, right? And so she fucks off, and then goes back to Judge Renslayer.
Yes.
Yeah, who is having a crisis of confidence. It feels like, but she's just like trying to hold it together. And so Miss Minutes like goes back and she's like, oh, I got those files he asked for, because in the previous episode she's like, give me all the files on the beginning of time. And Miss Minutes is like, here. And she's like, that's not what I asked. This is not all the files from the beginning of time. She's like, that's what you need, though. And then just disappears.
She specifically says, he thinks that's what you need.
Right.
And she's like, who's he? And Miss Minutes is like, bye.
Yep.
Just disappears.
You want to see my best act? Disappears. And so she's like, oh, fuck, I have to read all this now. And
like Loki and Sylvie are walking through the Citadel, and like it's really dusty, and it looks like nobody's been there in a really long time.
And there were some statues in the one room, and one of them was broken down.
Yeah, that was weird to me.
I think it was a character we're about to talk about.
Could be.
But
then a door opens in the wall, and there's this guy with this very nice purple cape.
In a weird elevator thing.
He's like, hey, Loki!
Yes.
And Loki!
Which, by the way, I'm going to look this actor up while we're talking.
Jonathan something, but he also gave a fantastic performance.
I think he was my favorite part of the entire episode, because there's something so bizarre. Jonathan Majors,
yeah.
Was so his whole demeanor is really bizarre. It doesn't look like he's talked to another person in a long time.
He probably hasn't.
And he's just being weird and goofy.
Yeah.
And Sylvie, of course, is like, fuck it, I'm going to kill you right now.
They both immediately pull their daggers and they're like, we're going to stab you. And he's like, hey, come to my office. We'll talk.
Yeah. And he kind of like immediately dodges. And it's kind of like when they have that thing in the TVA where they can like.
Yeah. Like not just dodges, but like teleports around to avoid Sylvie's attempts to kill him.
So they follow him to the elevator at knife point. Mm-hmm. They get into the elevator. They're standing behind him at knife point because he's got no fucking chill, right?
He's just munching on his apple, having a nice day.
And they're just like, I guess we'll keep the swords out, which did nothing when we tried to kill him. Let's see. I think they go back to the TVA at one point.
And Mobius walks into Renslayer's office with one of those pruning sticks.
Pruning shears.
Like, hey, we're kind of tearing down the TVA here.
Remember me, you bitch, when you pruned me?
And she's like, all right, are we really doing this? He's like, no, because I have more respect for my friends.
Yeah, I wouldn't prune someone like you did.
Renslayer's, all right, like, security, can you get up here? And he's like, oh, I don't think that's going to work.
Speaking of security, because they send the one hunter that got red pilled or whatever.
Yeah. So she is like leading away.
She's running away.
Yeah, she's leading some Minutemen on a chase. And
in Ohio in 19 something or other,
to where the actual Renslayer is,
because we learned before that they're all variants.
Yes,
so they existed somewhere on the timeline before.
So like she walks into this school office, and the Minuteman walks in and is like, "All right, calm down. I'm gonna arrest you now." She's like, "Hold on, just a second." Door opens. In walks original Renslayer, and the Minuteman is like, "What the fuck?"
Who's a teacher at this school, which is that little pen that she had that said whatever high school.
Yep.
Pin this, by the way. because when we get to the big reveal at the end, we're gonna come back to this school thing. So remind me if I don't remember, because it's really important.
We go back to Renslayer's office where,
which by the way, the other hunters see Renslayer, and their cognitive dissonance just disappears because they're like, this. What else?
Well, okay, I guess we all. I guess we are variants. So what the fuck?
Which I thought was kind of funny, where he didn't do like the religion thing. He was like, nope, it's not real.
Yeah. So Renslayer's like, all right, look, I'm out of here. I got things to do. And Mobius is like, oh, no, you're not. And she's like, all right, are you actually going to try to fight me? Because we both know how this is going to go.
Yep.
And Mobius is like, yes, I am going to try to fight you. And he gets his ass kicked.
And I failed. That was really funny. She like does a cool like karate chop and knocks him over, and he's just laying on the floor like, oh well.
Mobius is a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah, he's like, what did you expect me to do?
And she's like, all right, I could very easily prune you, but that didn't really work the first time, so I'm just gonna walk into this time portal.
The fucking guilt trip you just gave me for pruning you the last time is insufferable.
So she fucks off into time, and Mobius is like, well, I guess I'm here now.
I'm the timekeeper, I guess, because that's his whole thing. Is that he wants to? That's what he was trying to sell her on, was because they're having this crisis of faith.
Yeah,
which I thought was really interesting. The religion parallels, where they're like, everything we know is demonstrably false, and Renslayer's like, but it can't be for nothing. Like there must be some reason for it,
because like,
and also it's all I know.
Yes,
yeah.
Not only that, but they and the TVA have done terrible things to uncountable people, and the whole time they've been justifying it as it's for the greater good. It's for the greater good.
Right.
It's to keep the one true timeline from collapsing,
from branching.
Yeah. But if they find out that the people they've been working for are these fake robots, then what was it all for?
Their entire identity is pinned on this one job that they have. So I can kind of understand why she's not so quick to just, because Mobius is like, fuck it, let's burn it all down. It's all fake. And she's like the opposite end of that issue, where she's like, I have to cling to this, and like if it didn't mean anything before, we have to make it mean something.
Not only that, but Mobius is like coming to terms with all the terrible things that he's done as part of the TVA. Renslayer can't, because if she lets herself think about that and think that she wasn't justified in it, well, then she's just a monster.
Right. Yeah.
And that's not how people want to think about themselves.
So she just kind of like, and we have no idea where the fuck she's going. And Owen Wilson Mobius is like, oh, okay, well, I guess
I'm in charge.
I guess I'll fix it. And back at the Citadel, they get to this guy's office. We don't know what
He Who Remains.
Yeah, which by the Miss Minutes mentions. Yep. Now, He Who Remains is a comic book character, from Marvel. He is an old white guy who looks like he's roughly 3 million years old.
Okay,
like he's really decrepit and gross and everything. And in the comics, he was the oldest bureaucrat, like one of the first TVA agents or whatever. So
they get into his office,
and you start to think that's what the big reveal. That's who's behind this is He Who Remains, which wasn't it was an obvious choice.
Sure.
So, if it wasn't for the information I had going in, I would have been like, oh, okay, well, we figured it out.
Yeah.
And they're sitting there talking. They pretty much come to he pretty much tells Sylvie and Loki, like, I know everything that's going to happen here. Here's another chat transcript that I had that guy print off. And that's how I can dodge all your, fucking karate moves, because I know when they happen and I can press a button and blah, blah, blah.
But also, let me tell you a story.
Let me tell you several stories. Let me exposit for the next 30 minutes.
Yeah. Like, I was a scientist in the year 3000, and like I found all these timelines.
Well, before he says that.
Oh.
They're like, who the fuck are you? And he's like, oh, I've been in a lot of things. I've been this. I've been a conqueror. Wink. And I've been this, and I've been this, and I've been this. Yeah. But look at this fucking cool watch thing where I can make videos happen.
Yeah.
And which then he pretty much explains that he's Rick from Rick and Morty.
Basically, yeah. Like, he found all these alternate timelines, and his variants started talking to each other.
Well, so he figured out that the universes are stacked on top of each other, and that pretty much he found out that there's a multiverse.
Yeah.
Right. And while he was figuring out, all the infinite versions of him in the multiverse are figuring it out too, and then they start talking to each other, which is exactly Rick from Rick and Morty. Like, that's what he is. They're out of like all these countless versions of him. There are like some that are pretty cool, and some that are really gross and
some that are
dictators.
just dicks and just start wars.
Which is also a Rick and Morty thing, by the way.
So there's this big multiversal war, and finally he was like, all right, fuck it. He fights, and he eventually wins. And he's like, all right, no more multiverse, one timeline. That's what the TVA is for. We're going to have one timeline. I'm going to sit here at the end of time, make sure it all ends up properly.
He's from the 31st century, by the way, I think you mentioned,
And like he eventually gets to the end of his story, and he's like, hold that thought. That's it. We crossed the threshold. That's everything I know.
With some real fucking ominous sounds.
And the camera like slowly zooming in on his face.
And for the first time in this episode, this guy that has been keeping his cool and isn't worried about a fucking thing, all of a sudden starting to look a little fucking panicked.
Yeah, he looks a little unready for whatever's going to happen.
And yeah, so he explains that they've now passed over the point in time where he knows what's predetermined.
So now, two options. Either because He Who Remains is really tired of this shit. He's been doing it for God only knows how long. He just wants to be done. So it's like, all right, here's the deal. Loki and Sylvie, either you two can kill me and, like, by doing so, destroy all the order of the timeline and just start another multiversal war, or you two can take over my job and just make time however you want it. And Sylvie's like, well, obviously I'm going to kill you, pulls out her knife. And Loki's like, all right, hang on a sec. Like, it's not that I want to rule over everything, although he probably kind of does.
Oh, I'm sure there's a part of him that does.
It's more that, like, we would be consigning countless trillions of people to death if we start this war. And Sylvie's like, that guy fucked up my life.
That sounds like a you problem,
like,
not a me problem.
You have no idea how much I want to stab this guy right now. And Loki's like, I really think we should just think about this for a minute. And Sylvie's like, no thinking, only stab. And then they have a fight.
Which this is the one part of the episode I just didn't really care for. They tend to every story in the world where you have two friends that are on a journey, they always manufacture last minute conflict before the resolution and everything, and it's just kind of predictable. But
so they have this fight, which is cool fight choreography and some cool special effects.
Yeah, they do some. Loki does some of his illusion spells and shit too.
And finally, like, they're right in front of his desk, and like Sylvie has her knife to Loki's neck, and he's like, I don't want to be ruler of everything, although I actually kind of do. Like, I just want to be with you. And then they have this real nice kiss.
You're so pretty.
And Sylvie's like pushes him away and says, well, I'm not you. And she, like, uses the temp pad from He Who Remains' desk to, like, push him through a portal
back into the TVA.
Back to the TVA. And this whole time, He Who Remains is just kind of sitting there like, oh, yeah, that's fun.
Just generally amused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she, like, kicks his desk to the side, and he just kind of leans back in his chair like, oh, yeah, it's happening now.
Yeah.
So he's like, aren't you going to beg for your life? And he's just like, nah.
Have you not been watching this fucking show?
I know it's not going to work, so go ahead.
Yeah.
And she stabs him.
Yeah. And he immediately dies.
His last words are, see you soon.
Yeah. Well, because a little bit earlier he explains that, he's like, if you kill me, all these different versions of me are going to be coming to burn everything. So it's kind of a weird reincarnation thing.
Yeah.
So you're killing me, but you're going to get more of me. So fucking strap in. At this point, at the TVA, shit starts to go crazy
because the timeline is just branching everywhere.
Which, by the way, like in the space beyond time, around the floating rock with the citadel, with that stream of time starts to branch off too. So it's like legit. And then it shows that graphic that they've shown throughout the whole show, where they're like trying to keep the branches from reaching the red line, and all the branches are like way beyond the red line. And Loki is trying to figure out where Mobius is, because he realizes this is happening because she must have killed him.
Yeah.
And so he runs around, he finds Mobius. Well, right before this, I should say, right before all the shit hits the fan, and they're watching all the branches and shit. Mobius and the one hunter is like, I guess we're all fucked. Like,
I mean, the organization has kind of failed at what we set out to do.
Free will. And
great.
then the one thing he had said was cool. He said their mantra, like ironically, and she answered it ironically. For all time, always.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. But then Loki catches up to him and is freaking out because he's like,
we found the guy at the end of time, and then Sylvie must have killed him, and now everything's breaking, and we really need to do something. And Mobius is like, who the hell are you?
Yeah, well, he's like, you must be an analyst. What department are you from? Clearly doesn't know who the fuck he is. And Loki's like, excuse me? And looks over to his right or whatever, and where there used to be a statue of one of the timekeepers, it's motherfucking King the Conqueror.
With a face that looks incredibly similar to He Who Remains. And
he's in the, Kang's comic book get-up and shit. And so so the reveal is that the guy that they were talking to wasn't King the Conqueror, but one of his like bad selves is. Yeah. And that's who has come and apparently has manipulated time so that he has taken over the TVA or whatever. Yeah. And has erased Mobius's memories or something. Yeah. And they're like, even though the timeline is broken, like they're still trying to be bureaucrats and like, what does he want us to do? What does he want us to do? And you don't really know. And that's how the whole motherfucker ends. And then there's a 2-second post-credit scene where someone stamps on a file. It says Loki will return in season 2, which I thought was really fucking cool too. And so
that's it. That's all we got.
Yeah, just the couple minutes we have left. Renslayer in the comics is King the Conqueror's love interest. They like fuck. Yeah. And her whole story was that she was a teacher or whatever. So they kind of like it was apparent after the episode before last that there's so much more evidence for King the Conqueror in Loki than there was for Mephisto in WandaVision. Yeah. So in WandaVision, we're like, oh, they said the word devil. They must mean
Mephisto.
Yeah, Mephisto. Mephisto is everywhere. Yeah. It's it's not the journey; it's the Mephistos you made along the way. And it was clear after several episodes of Loki that King the Conqueror was kind of the only reasonable expectation based on all the clues they had. What I thought was really interesting was that they kind of melded he who remains with Kang. So Kang's deal is that he exists in all dimensions and controls all of them,
all of time. Yeah.
And they all do shit to help him, and he feeds off of whatever energy or whatever the fuck. So it was a very MCU thing where they don't just lift verbatim from the comics. They usually, quite often, they change something. And so they like Agatha Harkness, for example, and Agatha.
Oh God, it's Agatha Mephisto.
Yeah. So it's like they always change something. I thought it was really interesting how they kind of melded those two characters together, which I thought was cool. And now I think that the next thing that will deal with this is the new Spider-Man movie that comes out in December.
Well, there's Spider-Man, there's the Marvel What If, and then there's Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness,
which is 2022, like September, I think. Even it's a while away. But I think the next big leap into this King the Conqueror thing is going to be Spider-Man, because the whole thing about the new Spider-Man movie is
what's it called? No Way Home?
Yeah, it's clearly an interdimensional travel thing. And also Doctor Strange is kind of his like new mentor figure. Yeah. Because he's going to be in Spider-Man. And so, yeah.
That's interesting because like there was already I know this wasn't MCU, but there was the Spider-Man Spider-Verse movie not too long ago.
Right.
And that kind of dealt with the same idea of like multiverse and all these different spider people. And
which, by the way, since I'm comfortable in saying obviously the new Thanos, well, the new big bad at a higher danger level than Thanos even, possibly the only person that could have a chance to fight him is Doctor Strange. Unless he just he finds him and picks Captain Marvel up and throws him at him like a torpedo or something. He's the only one with that knowledge of interdimensional, and magic and shit.
Not just power, but the knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. I think we're starting to head in the direction of Tony Stark was the leader of the Avengers for phase 1 through 4.
3, I think.
3, yeah. And now I think the new Tony Stark for the Avengers is going to be Doctor Strange, because he's the guy that knows stuff. So anyway, we got to set up here for our Battlefront stream. So come back here in just a moment. We'll play some Battlefront. It'll be a lot of fun.